Hey guys, it's PDFT, Planet Discus Fish Tank. It's kind of a long acronym, long name. I'm thinking about changing my channel name to Planted Discus Aquarium, PDA for short. What do you guys think? Anyway, so last week I showed you how to break fish tank. I showed you how to de-rim unsuccessfully. And I also showed you how not to put a cover on your fish tank and allow your discus to jump out. So anyway, this week I'm going to give you an update on the 75-gallon fixer-upper. I'm also going to show you an update on the foster home with the baby fry, baby discus fry, and the foster parents. But first, here's a time lapse of the 240-gallon tank behind me. Enjoy. So this was the scene from last week where I had cracked my 75-gallon tank as I was de-rimming it. I also mentioned that I had an old 55-gallon tank that I was going to remove one of the panels from and replace this cracked panel. So this week I went ahead and removed this broken panel, and I'm going to show you how I installed the 55-gallon replacement panel. Here I'm applying painter's tape all around the perimeter. Essentially, I'm masking off areas where I don't want the silicone. So here is the replacement panel from the 55-gallon, and it's slightly thinner. It's 3/16 of an inch instead of 1/4 inch, but it's tempered glass, so it should be as strong. Otherwise, the dimensions are perfect. So now I'm applying the silicone on the edges of the bottom and the side panels. And I go ahead and clamp the new glass in, add more silicone on the inside, and I'm using my fingers to spread the silicone. Nice thick bead. And before it dries, I remove all the tape, because otherwise the tape will be stuck down. So I'm gonna need a brace to support the middle section of the new tank. So here I'm taking the old broken panel and I'm gonna cut the glass 4 inches wide, and we're gonna silicone that brace onto the tank. So in terms of tools, what you see here is a T-square, the blue ruler, and I have the glass cutter over there on the left. And before I cut, I'm going to put a little bit of oil onto the glass to minimize friction. And here I'm going to go ahead and cut with this carbide tip. Turn the lights on, make sure I can see. Wear gloves so you don't get cut. And just a little bit of a score there. And just double checking and make sure the score is on. Remove the T-square. Inspect the score again. And now I'm going to use a tool called glass running pliers. And if we look at the jaws from the front, you can see that they are curved. So essentially, the jaws will apply a bending force to the glass until it cracks. So here we go. Line it up, make sure the score is centered, and you just gently squeeze, and there it is, cracks right all the way through the score. And this prevents injury. I see a lot of people that smack the glass down to break it, and sometimes it can shatter on you. So we're gonna fast forward a bit. So I cut another score that is 4 inches wide. All right, and use the pliers again. So now I'm using sandpaper to remove the sharp edges from the glass. The sandpaper is 220 grit, and I rub perpendicular to the length of the glass. And finally, I make the last cut to fit the dimensions of the tank. Final sanding, and we're ready to apply. So here I'm putting silicone at the center of the aquarium. We line up the brace, and I use my fingers to push the silicone into the seams. I add a little bit more silicone to make sure I get a nice thick bead for strength. Then I let it cure for about 48 hours. And now is the moment of truth. Will it hold water? Sorry, I was just kidding. So anyway, here it is, intact. I'm looking at the edges here to see if there's any bowing, but it looks good. It looks strong, no leaks. We're good to go, back in business.
You can be my wingman anytime.
Bullshit. You can be mine.
Okay, moving on. So last week I moved the orphan discus fry onto the foster home, and the foster parents seemed to take them in. And about 2 days later, the fry became free swimming. And so what I did was I covered the tank with a white foam cover. And this was for a couple of reasons. First, the adult pair get easily distracted. And second, the fry instinctively move towards the darkest surface near them, and putting the white cover helps them find the parents easier. Discus are the only few fish that feed the fry, similar to mammals. The discus secrete a special protein in their skin/scales, which the fry eat off of. So here you can see the fry attached to the male discus, and they're eating off the scales. And they'll typically continue to do this up to 4 weeks, or until the parents spawn again. So I did notice that the fry are mostly attaching to the male discus, and with the female not so much. Seems like the fry just can't find her. And this goes back to the theory that the fry instinctively gravitate towards the darkest surface around them. And with the blue male discus, the fry find him very easily. Whereas the lighter pigeon blood female, they just can't see her. And so in that forum that I was reading, simplydiscus.com, they talked about how albino discus have a very difficult time having the fry attach. And it's because they're very pale in color and the fry just can't find them. So I'm going to let these guys be. The alternative is to artificially raise the fry, and that's where you take the fry and you put him in a separate container, and you have to feed him every 4 hours, and you have to feed him newly hatched brine shrimp, and that's just a very time-intensive process that not many people have time for. So this is about 7 days later after free swimming, and we don't have a lot of fry left. There's about 2 left there, still attached to the male. But the female, yeah, the fry just wouldn't attach to her, and so she's not even interested anymore. So in all, it did not end well for the foster parents. It typically takes both parents to feed the fry and to get them to grow quickly and healthy. And with just one discus really doing all the work, he wasn't able to feed them. He wasn't able to produce enough slime to feed all the fry, and I believe they just slowly starved to death. And another reason was probably my fault. I should have been supplementing these guys with newly hatched brine shrimp. But with my busy schedule, I just wasn't able to do that. But definitely on the next go around, you know, these parents are getting better, and hopefully the female figures out how to get the fry to attach to her. And then on my part, I'm going to help them with baby brine shrimp. And we're making progress. We're getting better every time. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you next time.